You'd be amazed how quickly a friendly hi over the garden fence can turn into a heated dispute about bricks, boundaries and building works. I'm Faye, Director at RICS Chartered Surveyors. If you're planning building work, or your neighbour is, you might find yourself in a party wall dispute faster than you can say planning permission. In this video, I'll walk you through the most common causes of party wall conflicts, how to prevent or resolve them, and what legal protections exist when things do go wrong. Whether you're building a dream extension or simply trying to protect your home from next door's renovations, this is what you need to know. Party wall disputes usually begin with one thing: poor communication. But legally speaking, there are a few key triggers: cutting into or repairing a shared wall, excavating near a neighbouring property, building right up to or astride the boundary line. These works all fall under the Party Wall Etc. Act 1996, and they're perfectly legal as long as the right process is followed. So why do problems start? In my experience, there are a few common causes: no notice being given before you even start work starting too early without agreement or assigned notice, noise, mess, or access issues during the construction phases, damage to the neighbour's property or fear of damage. Some owners assume that small projects don't need the formal processes outlined in the Act. Others don't realise how their works could impact a neighbour. It's often not the work itself that causes conflict, it's the lack of transparency or consideration around it. The good news? Most issues can be prevented long before surveyors are involved. One thing I am constantly repeating to neighbours is communication is key. Before any notices are served, talk to your neighbour. Explain what you're doing, why and when. Even if they're concerned, that early dialogue can make a big difference. This gives you the opportunity to consider your neighbour's worries and deal with any requests they might have. Next, serve the correct party wall notice in writing. This is a legal requirement, not just a courtesy. Remember, there are 3 types of notices depending on the work you're planning: a party structure notice, a line of junction notice, and a notice of adjacent excavation. Give at least 1 to 2 months of notice, depending on the works. If they consent, you're good to go. Just proceed with care and keep communicating with your neighbour. If they dissent, don't panic. That's when we enter the formal dispute resolution process, which is designed to protect both parties, not punish anyone. So don't hold a grudge if your neighbour dissents. It is their right to appoint a surveyor after all. You'll each appoint a surveyor or agree on one to act on each party's behalf. The outcome? A legally binding document called an award that outlines how the work will proceed with safeguards built in and details how the dispute is resolved. This process isn't about sides, it's about fairness. Here's how that formal process works, step by step. Firstly, notice is served on the adjoining owner or your neighbour. The neighbour will either consent, no dispute, you can just crack on, or dissents or fails to respond in 14 days, which also counts as dissent. Remember, dissent isn't going to stop you from doing your works, it just means that the issues or the dispute will need to be resolved before you can continue. Then each party appoints a surveyor or one agreed surveyor. The surveyors will carry out a schedule of condition, recording the state of the neighbour's property before works start. The surveyors will prepare and agree a party wall award, which details the work to be done, how and when it's carried out, any protective measures, access rights where required, fees and any other matters relating to the dispute. Once the 14-day period after service has ended, that award is legally binding. What if you ignore this process? Well, your neighbour could get an injunction to stop the work. Bottom line, do it right the first time. It saves far more than costs. So, when should you bring in a party wall surveyor? If your neighbour has dissented to a notice, if you've received a notice and aren't sure what to do, if there's been damage or tension during the building works, if you want a clear, structured document in place to protect both parties, then you might need a surveyor. Surveyors like us don't just handle paperwork. We offer impartial advice, help reduce misunderstandings, and ensure work is done safely and lawfully. We also record pre-work conditions to avoid false claims of damage and help prove damage when caused by neighbouring works, and help maintain neighbourly relationships through clear communications. In short, we keep things fair, factual, and under control. Sometimes, despite best efforts, things escalate. If a neighbour refuses access, damages your property, or disputes the award itself, you may need to consider legal options. These include injunctions to stop unlawful or unsafe work, compensation claims for proven damage caused by building work, appeals. An award can be challenged in the county court, but only within 14 days of service. Before going legal, speak with your surveyor. We can often resolve misunderstandings or suggest alternatives that avoid the courtroom entirely. Party wall disputes aren't always about bad intentions. They're often about poor communication and misunderstandings. But with the right advice and following the procedures laid out in the Act, you can protect your home, your project, and your relationships with your neighbours. If you're planning work or facing a dispute, we're here to help. At Harris & Clarke, we specialise in party wall matters and act with clarity, fairness, and professionalism. We've helped countless property owners through this process smoothly. Got questions? Drop them in the comments below or contact our team directly by going to our website at harrisandclarke.co.uk. And if you found this helpful, like and subscribe for more clear guidance on all things surveying. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video.